On some of the days of the week, I have to go to work. I live in my house, in my apartment, and where I work, where I do my job that I get paid for, that is somewhere else. So the days when I work, I have to first get to work, get to the place where I work. And then afterwards, when the job finishes, when the work finishes for that day, I have to get back home. I leave the workplace and I come back here where I am now. I come back to where I live. Today was a work day for me, which means I went to work. Now I'm back home. I'm back in my apartment. The work day is over. It's finished. Today, my work day was only 3 hours. I don't work for very long, only 3 hours. But the time I was away from home was longer. I was out of the house, away from home, for more time than 3 hours. It was about 4 hours. About 4 hours. Because it takes me about half an hour to get from my house to the workplace. And then afterwards, after finishing, it takes me another half hour to get back. So together, getting there and coming back is about an hour. But when someone asks me how long I work for, how many hours in a day do I work, I would answer with 3 hours, because the work that I'm getting paid for is 3 hours long. I'm getting paid for 3 hours. Someone else is paying me to do something for 3 hours. Somewhere else, not in my house, not where I live, somewhere else. The job, the work is somewhere else. So even though I'm only getting paid for 3 hours of work, to do the work, it takes me 4 hours. It takes 4 hours of my time, because the work is somewhere else and I have to get there and get back. But I don't get paid for getting there and getting back. I don't get paid for travel, for traveling to the job and back. That takes me time. Travel takes me time, about an hour, but it's not an hour that I get paid for. But it's required to do the job. There are other things I have to do for the job, other things that take me time that I also don't get paid for. Travel is the big one. it's the thing that takes the most time that I don't get paid for. Another one is changing my clothes, changing what I'm wearing. While working, I have to wear different clothes. For 3 hours while working, I wear work clothes. Clothes that I have to wear while I'm working. So before I start, I have to change from these clothes, from my clothes, into the work clothes. And when I finish, I have to change from the work clothes back into my clothes. This also takes time. Less time, a lot less time than traveling, but it also adds a bit of time before and after the work. The 3 hours of work doesn't include changing my clothes. That's something I have to do. That's time I have to spend. That's time I have to spend that I don't get paid for. This is very common, that there's always little things or big things that take people time, that they have to do for their job, that they don't get paid for doing. It's very different depending on the job, depending on the type of work, depending on the company you work for, depending on who you work for, depending on where you work. It could be that in different countries, it's very different. Maybe in some countries, workers get paid for travel time and get paid for the time they need to do the other things that are necessary for their job. But I think in most countries, in most of the cases, in most types of work, at most companies, these are things you have to do that you don't get paid for doing. And for some people, it's a lot worse than for others. Some people have to spend a lot more time traveling. They have to spend a lot more time getting to work and getting back to their house after work because they live much further away. I live pretty close to where I work, so it only takes me about half an hour. But it would be a lot better if I lived very close to where I work, because then it would only take me 5 or 10 minutes to walk from my house to the workplace. What is it like for you? Do you have to spend a lot of time traveling to and from work? How much of your time, how many hours do you lose getting to and from work? All right. See ya.